A war under President-elect Donald Trump. That is what the United States is looking more and more likely headed towards here in the near future. And it's because of what President Biden has just done. He has actually done the unthinkable and reversed his long-standing policies. Now, I want to explain what's going on, what's happened over the last 48 hours, and what we are expecting anytime. So I'll break all this down in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So a war under Trump. What would that even look like? And what are we headed towards at the moment? Well, here's what we know. The Biden administration is doing everything they can to try to keep their policies and their agenda intact. The problem is we keep sending more and more equipment and ammunition and just supplies to Ukraine. But in doing so, it's actually hurting and disrupting Russia. And Russia is now trying to respond. Just listen to this, because this right here is very telling of what could be coming.
Breaking news out of the war in Ukraine. Fox News can confirm that Ukrainian forces have struck Russia using long-range U.S.-made missiles. President Biden approved their use just days ago. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is approving a revised nuclear doctrine that lowers the threshold for a nuclear response. Meanwhile, our NATO allies, Finland and Sweden, are now telling citizens to prepare for war.
They are telling them to prepare for war. These are our NATO allies. Keep in mind, President Biden said, and this was 3 years ago, that an attack on a NATO country is an attack on all NATO countries, including the United States. Now, keep in mind that just a short while ago, just a couple days ago, President Biden, he agreed and he is allowing Ukraine to use U.S.-made missiles to strike into Russia. Well, Ukraine used those U.S.-provided long-range missiles and struck Russia. That is what is causing Russian President Vladimir Putin to respond. But look what President Biden did just today. President Biden approves anti-personnel mines for Ukraine, undoing his own policy. Says the move comes as Russia's advances in eastern Ukraine threaten to overwhelm frontline defenses. Now, we knew years ago that using anti-personnel mines, sending over additional equipment, right, using long-range missiles would work and prevent Russia from moving further into Ukraine. But President Biden said no. He did not want to do that. He did not want to go that route. But why change now? According to reports, the only reason why is because Democrats lost, and now they have no power as of January 20th, 2025. That's in just 2 months. Now, here's the other issue. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, there's no problem. There's nothing to worry about. But if there was nothing to worry about, then why would the U.S. close its embassy in Kyiv, stating that there's potential significant air attacks? Okay, they are looming. Says the U.S. embassy recommends that American citizens be prepared to immediately shelter if an air alert is announced. Okay, I understand that. But that's what the U.S. is doing in Ukraine. What should the United States be doing here in the U.S., if anything? Well, nothing yet. According to the Defense Secretary, we are okay. He doesn't see an imminent intent from Russia to use their nuclear arsenal. But if Russia doesn't plan on using any of their nuclear arsenal, and Russia is the only threat, then why would Russia be doing this? Just watch.
Moscow unveiled a chilling new weapon in its arsenal. Mobile bomb shelters designed to protect against nuclear blasts, radiation, and even chemical attacks.
So, okay. Russia has decided they're going to use a mobile bomb shelter. Okay. Why? It can be used to prevent anyone from being harmed from a nuclear attack, from a chemical attack, right? That's great, but why would Russia be trying to implement that? Is it because that's a countermeasure, because of a potential response? Possibly. But it's not going to be a nuclear attack from Ukraine. That's not what we're going to see. Now, is the United States going to strike Russia? No. Not with a nuclear bomb. That would just be devastating for the entire world. And so that's what's interesting. So what is Russia planning on doing? Why would Russia be setting up these mobile bomb shelters? And why would they be telling their citizens to be prepared? Now, I want you to listen to this. This is our Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. Okay? I want you to listen to what he has to say. It's about a minute-long video. Just listen to this.
Is there a reason to believe that Vladimir Putin may use a nuclear weapon?
We've known for several weeks that they were revamping their policy on use of nuclear weapons.
Now, I want to stop it right there. So one of the things that he just answered, okay, that they've known for weeks, that Vladimir Putin and Russia were planning on updating their nuclear doctrine. So now it actually lowers the threshold where Russia could implement nuclear weapons into this war. Yeah, let's keep listening.
As I look at what they're doing, and we watch their strategic forces, very carefully. I don't see a change in their strategic force posture, and so we'll continue to remain vigilant in this regard. But at this point, no, I don't see an indication that there's an imminent intent to use nuclear weapons.
Is he bluffing with this change?
He has rattled his nuclear saber quite a bit, and this is dangerous behavior, as you heard me say before. We would expect that countries with nuclear capability be a heck of a lot more responsible in terms of how they act and what they're saying. So.
Okay, so he says he doesn't see an imminent intent for Russia to use a nuclear threat. Okay, so Russia is not a nuclear threat at this point, according to the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. But here's what I can tell you. Nobody is going to come out and say, hey, we all need to be worried about this because this could potentially be happening. Nobody's going to say that. What they're going to do is they're going to do things behind the scenes to prepare. For instance, shut down the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. Shut it down, right? Get people out. And if they sound the alarm, then American citizens need to get out of there. That's what they're doing behind the scenes. What they're telling us up front is everything's okay. We're perfectly fine. Now, could the United States be perfectly fine? Absolutely. Do I think Russia's going to strike the United States? No. We're not going to see a nuclear attack from Russia to the U.S. or the U.S. towards Russia. But could Russia be pretty much saying they have these nuclear weapons? They're now partnering with North Korea. They now have an updated doctrine that lowers the threshold to a nuclear attack. Yeah, they could be bluffing. But at the same time, is Ukraine bold enough to actually call that bluff? That we don't know. But under President-elect Donald Trump, I don't know if Russia will continue this come January 20th, 2025. So in 2 months. But over the next 2 months, Russia could be doing everything that they can to potentially gain more ground in Ukraine so that if Donald Trump and the Trump administration step in and say, we have this deal, we want to give you the Donbas region, but you have to pull all the way out of Ukraine. Well, Russia could then say, well, we have this other region as well. Give this to us and the Donbas region, and we will agree. But we're going to have to wait and see. Again, President-elect Donald Trump doesn't take office for 2 months, which means President Biden still has control, and he can decide to change his policies, move forward with additional attacks, even send troops to Ukraine and fight Russian and North Korean soldiers. But again, we don't know. So we will find out together. The one promise that I can make you is I will be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.